Jensen Huang just explained why NVIDIA thinks we've only spent hundreds of billions of dollars on AI infrastructure spend when the true spend will be trillions of dollars per year. Check this beast out.
NVIDIA touches just about everything in technology now. And as you've said in the past, you start with $0 billion markets and help turn them into trillion-dollar markets. Robotics is one of the next frontier markets. Are there any other next frontier markets that you're particularly excited about? You mentioned healthcare a moment ago. Is that one you're passionate about? Are there others that the investors in the room should be on the lookout for?
Well, the technology needed for healthcare is really complicated, and we're making fast progress. If you can understand the meaning of words, sequences of characters, and you can understand the meaning of structures like the virtual world. Okay, like when you look at the reason why we're able to generate video is because we understand the virtual world to generate an image, a representation of the world. And so if you can generate video, it must be because you understand the world. If you can understand worlds, is it possible that you understand proteins and chemicals that have structure? And the answer is yes. And so we're increasingly getting closer to understand the meaning of proteins, AlphaFold and others. We're able to understand the meaning of cells. And we recently did a partnership with ARC, and Evo2 is one of the first examples of a large language model, a foundation model for cell representation. So you can now talk to it and say, I want you to generate other cells of these properties, or you could talk to a cell. What are your properties, and what can you bind to, and what can you your metabolism, what can you activate with? And so you could talk to a cell like you could talk to a chatbot. And so understanding the meaning of proteins, so anyways, and there's a lot of progress there. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, I'm excited about the work that we're doing to bring AI into telecommunications. 5G and 6G will be revolutionized by AI. I'm excited about the collaboration we have with quantum computers, so that we can pull in the quantum computer schedule by about a decade by creating quantum GPU hybrid computing systems, where we do the error correction, we control the quantum computer, we do the post-processing. And so we have a new architecture called CUDA-Q, which extends CUDA to quantum, and that's getting incredible adoption. And so there's a whole bunch of problems we can now solve that were hard to solve before.
You also shared this idea that in the future, we're not just going to have rendered computation, but everything is going to be generated. Can you unpack what that prediction is and what that means for NVIDIA?
Well, the best example of that, a couple of examples. Let's say Perplexity. Everything that you see on Perplexity, when you ask it a question, is completely generated. 100%. 100% of everything you see is generated. And yet in the past, before Perplexity, you would type in something and it would give you a list, and you would go and click on it, and all of that content was written by somebody or created by somebody a priori. So search is storage-based computing. It's retrieval-based computing. It's retrieving information for you to consume yourself. Perplexity, or AI, is generating, it goes and studies, it goes and reads all the content, and it generates it for you. Okay, so Perplexity is a great example of the classical computer approach. We go retrieve a file and read it, to a generative approach, Perplexity, which is AI-based. Another one, which is, I look at the videos that we see today. Sora is, of course, Nano Banana, of course. All of those pixels are generated. It's conditioned and prompted by you. You might give it an initial seed of something and say, I would like you to generate a video of Constantine and Jensen having a fireside chat. And then you have to prompt it and say, this fireside chat's going to talk, they're going to talk about, crazy stuff.
For those online, this is real, actually.
and then Sora would generate it. And so every single pixel, every single motion, every single word is generated. So the way of computation in the future will likely be generative. And let me just give you one final idea. 100% of what you and I just went through is generated. Every question you asked me, I didn't run back to my office and retrieve something and bring it to you. Is this what you meant, Constantine? And then you read it aloud for everybody to hear. That's yesterday's computer. Today's computer is we're just interacting. And so we are generating everything in real time based on the context that is happening right here, based on the audience, based on what's happening around the world. And so we're generating everything in real time. That's the future computer. You know, your future computer is a CEO in front of you, or it's an artist, it's a poet, it's a storyteller, and you collaborate with it to create unique content for yourself. And so the future of computation is 100% generative. And behind it, you need an AI factory, which is the reason why I'm 100% certain we're at the beginning of this journey. And we're a few $100 billion, a few extremely small. We're only a few $100 billion of infrastructure built for what likely will be trillions of dollars of infrastructure built each year. And so that's the easiest way to think through it.
And that computing paradigm is so much more like the human mind.
Yeah, it's thinking.
NVIDIA is positioning itself at the center of the next computing paradigm shift, where we see everything moving from retrieval-based to generative computing. Jensen explains that the future of computing will be entirely generative rather than retrieval-based. He used Perplexity as an example, where everything you see is generated in real time versus traditional searches that retrieves stored files. And because of that, Jensen's saying that they've only built a few $100 billion of infrastructure for what will eventually be trillions of dollars of infrastructure built every single year. So to make myself clear, Jensen's saying NVIDIA's at the start of the AI build-out, not near the end. The NVIDIA CEO claim is that every interaction you have with computers in the future will be generated on the spot, not retrieved from storage. That's a big deal. Right now, when you Google something, it finds web pages that already exist and shows them to you. With AI, it reads everything and creates a custom answer just for you in that moment. This shift requires completely different infrastructure. Traditional computing stores and receives data. Generative computing creates everything in real time, which needs massive processing power. That's why Jensen keeps saying they're early. If every search, every video, every interaction becomes generative instead of retrieval-based, you need way more compute power than exists today. And of course, NVIDIA is expanding just beyond AI chips. Healthcare is getting revolutionized because if AI can understand video by understanding the structure of the world, it can understand proteins in cells because they also have structure. Telecommunications will get rebuilt around AI with 5G and 6G. Quantum computing gets accelerated by a decade through quantum GPU hybrid systems where NVIDIA handles error correction and post-processing. Robotics is obviously a frontier market, and NVIDIA will be the infrastructure layer for every major technology transformation happening this decade. One of the key insights of what Jensen said is the scale prediction. Hundreds of billions spent so far versus trillions of dollars in the future. If he's right, current spending levels aren't too much, and in fact they're tiny compared to what's coming. And this also explains why NVIDIA isn't worried about competition or market saturation. They're not selling chips for today's computing, they're selling infrastructure for a completely different computing paradigm that's just getting started. The comparison to human thinking matters too. Generative computing mirrors how humans actually work. We don't retrieve pre-written answers, we generate responses based on context. As computers become more like human minds, they need the kind of processing NVIDIA provides. And for investors, this framing suggests NVIDIA's opportunity is much bigger than current AI models. It's not just about training ChatGPT or Claude, it's about replacing the entire computing infrastructure of the internet with generative systems. Every video you watch could be generated in real time based on your preferences. Every search could be a custom generated answer. Every interaction with software could be a conversation with an AI that generates exactly what you need in that moment. If that vision plays out, the infrastructure requirements are almost unlimited. That's why Jensen feels like he can confidently say they're at the beginning despite the fact NVIDIA's stock is already worth trillions and despite the massive build-outs already happening. The healthcare angle shows how deep this goes. Understanding protein structures and cell behavior isn't just drug discovery, it's fundamentally new capabilities that weren't possible before. All of this ties back to one thesis. Computing is shifting from storage and retrieval to generation and creation. NVIDIA positioned itself as the infrastructure for this shift. If this shift happens at the scale Jensen predicts, then it might be that current valuations and spending levels are just at their starting points. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, why not consider hitting subscribe? Cheers.